everybody. And thank you for joining us this evening for the relaunch of our Reflections of Turtle Island educational series. My name is Les Fry, and it is our practice to start all of our events with a land acknowledgement. So we're going to start with that right now. Let us pause a moment to acknowledge the traditional stewards of the lands that we now reside upon, and especially the Lenape people, their ancestors, descendants, and all indigenous people who live now and have ever lived on our regions of Turtle Island and beyond. But more than acknowledgement, let's honor and support our existing indigenous communities by helping them continue their land-based practices and their way of life by dispelling false narratives about their history and people while promoting their authentic truths, helping them heal from past wrongs and offenses, and assisting them in protecting and restoring back to health the land, nature, and water which brings life. Yakoki.
Uh-huh.
So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are very excited for this educational series and for it to start and begin. This is something that we've had in the planning for a while as ROTI and as the board. And we're going to just start with a few introductions regarding who we are. And we're going to introduce our ROTI president, Mr. Ron or Elder Ron Williams. Ron, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how this board, how you founded ROTI, and just give us a little brief background about it.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm Ron Williams. I'm a lot of things. I am the president and co-founder of the Reflections of Turtle Island. My heritage is very, very, very shared. I am Southern Ute. I am Mexican. I am Welsh. I am many things, but what I am mostly is human, as we all are. And we began my story with our organization back in around 2010. I began to caretake what was essentially a large rock. It was a memorial that was established by one of our previous mayors, dedicated to the acknowledgement that there were burial sites in a particular location here in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. I came across this site, began cleaning it up a little bit, and with the assistance of our mayor at the time and the borough council, I was given permission to continue to caretake this, and was asked if there was anything else that I could do to make people aware of the Native American influence and heritage and the history in this area. So I and a few folks, one particularly important person, Pat Harbach, Mother Star, she's Cherokee heritage, but she was influential in bringing a lot of folks together with us, and we created a powwow back. We've been going for 10 years now. Through the powwow, we've been able to share the culture and the heritage of Native American influence that's been in these lands for the last 10 to 12,000 years at the very least, prior to the incursion of the European folk peoples. From the powwow, the individuals that I met became an important influence on where I went from there. I was overwhelmed by the resistance of the Dakota Access Pipeline. This was in the winter of 2015-16. I gathered contributions and monetary support and delivered these items out to the Dakotas, where I became aware of the communities on the reservations that were pathetically under cared for. I and my wife began a project from that point on. About every 3 months, I take a trailer load of supplies, winter supplies, summer supplies, food, clothing, household goods, So we kind of grew from that. Our humanitarian efforts were pretty much covered by Mary and myself, and then we began to gather a few folks around this, and that actually is the inception of the Reflections of Turtle Island organization. We uh, began to look at the possibilities of where could we go from there, how could we raise the funds that we need to continue the humanitarian, the powwow, the caretaking, and other things. And here we are. And here's my board. We created a 501c3, and we're lacking two board members present today, but they're incredible people, and they've been incredibly supportive, and we're beginning to grow, and we're beginning to do the things that we need to do.
Brian, can you tell us a little bit about the powwow and when we usually host the powwow?
Certainly, it's my baby. um, it's been my baby because I've been for the most of the years I've been supporting it like it's my baby. So we do raise funds. We accept donations all along. Mary's been an incredible person for helping in that respect. Mary is my wife. She's also one of the important board members. Say hi, Mary. um, but the powwow is held on the first weekend of May in beautiful town of Pottstown, Pennsylvania, along the riverfront and adjoining the Manatawny Creek. And we call the powwow on Manatawny Creek. Manatawny Creek is an estuary that where it enters the Schuylkill River. And for those of you who are not Philadelphiaites or Pennsylvaniaites, the Schuylkill River is one of the main water feeds into the Delaware River. But the site is that we're currently at is what would have traditionally been a fishing and hunting location for the Lenape people. It's a woodlands area, and this portion of Pennsylvania was strongly woodlands hunting grounds.
Thank you. And also, in addition to the educational series that we are going to be hosting every month, can you tell us a little bit about the burial ground site that we maintain?
I certainly can. In the year 1859, group of workers from the town were cleaning a number of an area that had a number of mounds on it, and in the process of their cleaning the area, they exposed a individual who had been the remains of an individual who had been rather uh, importantly clad, and his artifacts were included food, ammunition, a flint gun. The description in the newspapers is pretty extensive. These his remains and the artifacts were removed from that site, and as I understand it, they were put on display, likely in our local library. Um, Over the next 12 years, that was 1859. Over the next 12 years, other remains were found in different locations. People trying to expand their cellars found remains, and all of these items have disappeared over time. We don't know where they went. Our search has taken us into the state library, the local history groups, and we just don't know where these remains, where these artifacts have gone. Of course, in that time, it wasn't unusual for traveling shows to display um, remains of warriors, they called them, and come see the mighty warrior. So anyway, in the year 2000, the mayor at that time, Ann Jones, had worked on a project to create some sort of memorial, just to say that this site exists and that the people were here. The memorial itself is just a giant rock. It's a rock from a location up the road as part of a glacial process, and it is a ringing rock. And it's these ringing rocks, if you bang on them, they echo and they create a beautiful sound. But we created a plaque on that memorial, and it says, in this vicinity, in the year of 1859, burial workers unearthed Native American a Native American burial ground. In their honor, we dedicate this site in July 6, 2000. That was the dedication that was made at that time. We rededicated that site in the year 2010, and made sure that the borough made a commitment to help me keep that site a clean and a presentable memorial. The local Rotary Club is working with me to develop a storytelling ring, and we'll put a pavilion there, and we've got all kinds of plans. And we'll show that to you later on. We'll do a little video and give you a presentation of what that site is.
Thank you, Ron. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce our board, starting with your lovely wife, Mary. And so I'm going to give you that opportunity to introduce each one of us. And when he does introduce us, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your tribal affiliation, if any, and why you are a board member.
First of all, my loving and wonderful wife of 53 years, Mary, you're on.
Hello, I'm Mary Williams. I am the secretary for the ROTI board. And as Ron says, we go way back, he and I. But I want to talk a little bit about how we started our endeavors that eventually became ROTI. While Ron was caretaking the site and talking about doing a powwow, we had to scurry and learn a lot. I think Ron and I went to, so many powwows that year. And at that point, our goal was to look for the organizational skills that it took to put together a presentation that would impress. I feel that we have never stopped learning, and along with that, appreciating our success at the powwow is due to all the participation from our vendors, our dancers, our drums, our MCs, our presenters, our volunteers especially, and all our supporters. We have made so many friends over the years. Ron, I was thinking when you were talking about the rededication, that was our first powwow. You were over at the memorial and doing a wonderful job. I have pictures, I have testimonials. I couldn't be there because I was at the powwow getting things set up. And I was just totally blown away when I saw the dancers and the drums, and it was great. It was as good or better than some Ron and I had attended. And it's just kept getting better and better. And that's why we were able to go from a powwow committee to a ROTI, a strong organization that also helps with our efforts at the sending food and clothing out to the reservation, and also some learning and teaching seminars that we did earlier to do some fundraising. I guess if I have to talk about what I'd hope to accomplish, my wish is that we continue to learn and educate. So I'm very excited about this series. I'm very appreciative of Les and Tracy and all their efforts. And I'd say that my hope is that we can raise the funds and grow our organization and enlarge our circle of friends. And that's all I have to say today, so I'll send it over to Shane.
Hi, my name is Shane Mayokanel Hess. I am a member at large of ROTI. I basically help out wherever the help's needed, from helping to set up and tear down the powwow to helping co-pilot when Ron takes a trip out to Pine Ridge on a few occasions. Why I'm involved in it is it's about family. Ancestrally, I am related to Cherokee. I've been adopted by a Taino community, and coming involved with the powwow, it's like a family reunion, and I get to learn things I didn't know about my family and my roots. And my hope is to keep the powwow and things going, preserving our heritage, honoring the past, and just keeping things going.
I guess that I'm next.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure what order we're going.
That's okay. That's okay. My name is Les Fry. I'm going to introduce myself in the tongue of my grandmother. Sahochifoya Les Fry, Chatad Kataba Afrosia, Halito. I am Choctaw and Catawba heritage and African heritage and European heritage. And I am someone who is a reconnector and someone who is learning about a lost heritage to my people. And I think that one of the reasons why I joined this board, outside of just working with some really wonderful, great people, is that I wanted to help others reconnect, to learn about their past, to envision their future, and to restore and connect our Indigenous communities and to rewrite some of the false narratives about our people. So when I was asked to do this, I was extremely excited. And as a result of going to the powwow, connecting with my heritage, I've literally found myself and my people. So I am a board member at large. I am helping with all of the media and the production for the educational series and ongoing. And I'm just very grateful and pleased to be here. And so I'm going to ask Tracy to please introduce herself. Tracy, you're mute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Inaru Abolanula Hess. Inaru Abolanula is my Taino name, and it means woman of faith. I joined the board because the mission is very close to my heart. ROTI empowers me to celebrate ancestry at the powwow, serve others through humanitarian relief efforts, and to honor our ancestors through caring for the burial ground. And it also gives me the power to shine a light on Natives today, that we're not gone, we're not part of history, we are in fact part of the future. And so that really excites me to be able to do all of those things together with all of my friends here today. And so what do I want to accomplish? Well, my main goal is to make the organization as sustainable as possible. I am the treasurer, and so it's probably no surprise that in that role, I want to make us, the powwow sustainable. Because of inflation, the cost has risen year over year. We want to be able to make multiple trips out to Pine Ridge to bring much needed supplies, and so we can't do that on our own and out of our own pockets. So my main goal has been to find sponsors and partners who will come alongside us in these missions, not necessarily financially. There's lots of ways that people can partner through volunteering, but I'll talk more about that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. So we're going to talk a little bit about our educational series and why we decided to go ahead, Ron.
I also want to add that we have two other board members. Barry Lee, who is a Muncie heritage, as also Polish heritage too, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Barry has been an incredible mentor to me over the years. Barry and his wife are our singing group called Spirit Wing. Uh, they are Native American folklorists, and in their own right are very, very strong individuals in understanding the heritage. Barry is also one of the foremost knowledgeable people of wampum belts, and we'll be asking him to do a presentation and to discuss wampum belts at some time in the future. But now, I also am indebted to an individual who is kind of shy, but until he gets his regalia on, he's Blackfoot, and his name is Donald Batman. And it's a pleasure to work with him. He's been really an important part of our ability to be introduced to a number of individuals in the dance circles, in the drum circles, and Batman is one of my favorite heroes.
Thank you, Barry, because we don't want to forget our other board members that couldn't be here this evening. We couldn't function without everybody, so thank you for recognizing them. And, they're not here with us this evening due to conflict, but we couldn't do things without them. So thank you for recognizing that. So what we did come here for this evening to talk about, outside of you meeting our board members, is to talk about our educational series. And our theme for 2023 is Learn, Unlearn, and Relearn. And why did we pick that theme? So we as leaders across the country want to continue to preserve our language, the issues impacting our current situation within the Indigenous communities, and paving a path forward for us to how we envision ourselves in the future. And this series is designed for everyone who wants to learn about the Native perspective, who we are as a people, our culture, and just basically any type of question that you may have. This is the place to come to. So the program will be every Thursday, every last Thursday of the month. So it's a once-a-month series at 7:00 p.m. here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and we will now be going on LinkedIn Live as well. It's a monthly series where we'll have episodes where we discuss such things as intersectionality, Black and Indigenous community, the significance of powwows, the significance of wampum belts, what they mean, the wampum belts of Pennsylvania specifically, recovering lost artifacts, and much, much more. So we do have a little bit more time. I want to give our board members a little bit of an opportunity to talk about this educational series and how they envision it, what they envision and what they would like to see of this educational series for our audience members. And Ron, would you like to talk about that a little bit?
I certainly would. Boy, when I talk to individuals and groups, I'm always stumped by, not really stumped. It's like I have so much to talk about that I don't have the time to cover all the subjects. But and let me just go through a couple of ideas that I think it's going to be important for us to begin to throw out through this process. Missing and murdered and missing Indigenous people. It began as missing and murdered Indigenous women, but that field has grown as we've learned more about the people. We need to talk about this subject. There are people that hopefully we'll be able to bring into this series to talk about that subject. The Indian school projects, the government Indian schools, and the history of them and where we go from here. I'm part of a group that is involved in the Carlisle Indian School Project, which is a project to bring awareness of the Indian school issues and the history and where we go from here. Reservations. So we've got 1,000 subjects that we can talk about reservations, about the economic issues and the physical conditions that are placed upon our people on the reservations. You know, all of the tribes that I've interacted with have a rich, meaningful, and important sense of pride, and their heritage is to them is the most important thing about them. And we're going to bring folks on who can talk about that. The doctrine of discovery, an important subject for Native Americans, and a subject that leads into the discussions about the dispossession, theft, conniving, loss of lands, the legal theft of lands that have their foundation and the discussion about we are human. Okay, so I think we've got a lot of things to talk about. Repatriation of remains to the tribes that need to be repatriated. So,
Tracy, how about you? What is it that you would like to see from this educational series? You're on mute. Go ahead.
Thank you. I am really excited about the conversations about reclaiming the things that were lost artifacts, lost language, lost culture. And, many of us, most of us are disconnected from our native lands because of the Trail of Tears or just the diaspora. And so we've lost a lot in that process. And so being able to reclaim those things, relearn them, learn new ways of bringing our culture into the future, like those are the things that I get excited about.
Thank you. And how about you, Shane?
The series, I hope, brings a light to a lot of subjects that have been in the dark, and that we can relearn a lot of things that have been twisted over the years, and that the truth would be told.
I think you're mute, Mary.
I would like to look at some of the arts and crafts. I'm very excited that we're going to be able to cover Barry's wampum creations and the history. It's just very exciting, but also some of the more contemporary artists, poets, musicians, painters. I just think there's so much out there, and it like all art, it changes, with the personalities and our time here on the planet, how it affects even ancient traditions. So I'd like to see, and maybe some concentration on the languages, because we just don't get that anywhere. So I'm hoping to see that.
And for me, I think that what I want to talk about is our history and the history and how it affects our future, in particular, the issues of blood quantum and how that was used to basically cause a sense of disconnect and genocide within our culture, just dismantling some of the things that we've been told about our Native history. And also relearning that and how we can sustain ourselves in the future. Sustainability is a huge thing that I am very passionate about as far as a community, and how we as people who were connected to this land can reconnect ourselves and restore this land as much as possible, at least for us to have a habitable place.
hello? Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay. Just one more thing. Is we're probably, in my mind, the most important element that we need and we will be pursuing in this effort, and that is the contributions that Native Americans have made, not only to this nation but to this continent, to these continents, these places we call Turtle Island. The governments that exist today would not be present if it wasn't for the guidance and the leadership of Native American communities. And we're, the presence of Native Americans throughout history has been to teach, has been to guide, and to cultivate a relationship with other human beings. And our underlying desire is to ensure that we become one people. We are one people, and we need to become one people and make each other aware that there's no difference between you and I. We breathe, we have blood, everything about us is the same. We have different appearances, and that's all that's different. We are one people.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Great. I think that that's a wonderful thing to end before we talk about how we can get support or how people can partner with us. So, Tracy, can you tell our audience members how they can partner with ROTI? And you are mute. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So there's a lot of ways, and you can see scrolling at the bottom of your screen all the places that you can follow us. So please go on those places, reshare the things that we share. There'll be opportunities to watch replays of our educational series. Please share those far and wide so people know about them. Also, you can come to the powwow, which is going to be May 6th and 7th at Pottstown Riverfront Park. You could also volunteer at the powwow. On our webpage, if you click Partnering for the Future, you will find the sign-up sheet to volunteer if you're able. Also, if you have a knack for grant writing or fundraising, we'd like to hear from you. You can reach out to us at info@rotius.org. That is ROTIUS.org. Also, we're asking all of our viewers if you could just take one moment to donate just $1. That will help us to be able to further that mission. And if you go again to the web page, you'll find the link there on how you can do that.
On that note, if we have 1 million viewers and each one of you donates $1,
then we're going to have an amazing powwow.
Definitely. That's our goal. That is definitely our goal.
Several trips to Pine Ridge. Yes.
Yes. We could reshape Pine Ridge, honestly, with that. So I wanted to thank all of our Ron is like, I want to thank all of our board members for joining us this evening, and you, our audience, for joining us. We are going to give you back a little bit of time, but we thank you. We thank our panelists this evening. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do some closing remarks if you'd like to, and before I wrap it up and let our audience know about our next episode. Ron, could you start?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Sure. We have a future, and it's going to happen. We want you to come along for the ride. I think it's going to be an incredible ride. If nothing else, we want to open a few eyes. We're living in a period right now where some folks are attempting. And this has actually been going on for a long time, but it's becoming more of a highlight these days, that the idea of educating people about the bad things that happened in their culture aren't really fair to apparently the people that have created the bad things. We're going to stir up a little bit of problems, maybe, hopefully not. The idea is to bring an awareness of the culture, of the heritage, and everything else. But if in bringing that awareness, we step on a few toes, I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? Do you have any last minute remarks before we close for this evening?
I'll just echo what Ron said. Come along for the ride. We got a lot coming up, and so there's a lot to share and to be a part of. And it's even more exciting when people come along with us.
Thank you, Tracy. All right. Well, that's it. Mary, Shane.
I just want to reiterate that, for me, it's all about family. And so, I just invite you to partner with us. Your story can be part of our story, and just come alongside, be part of us, just partner with us. I'd love to meet every one of you and just get to know you.
Yes, I agree with Shane. Please come get to know us. Donate what you can, volunteer when you can, and just get out there and participate. Thank you.
And I'm just going to wrap it up by saying that this is a wonderful community, and what comes from this community is good medicine. And you will definitely learn, feel like you're part of a family if you join us or partner with us in this community. I mean, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to know these people on this board and to know the community that we serve.
Next month, we powwow.
That's right. That's right. So with that, we're going to close. I want to tell you that our next episode is going to be next Thursday, I believe the 30th of March. I think that's the date. And if you want to join us, you can join us on our mailing list, our Facebook page, and our webpage at rotius.org. That's ROTIUS.org. You can also like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Twitter, and follow us on LinkedIn now. We just signed up to LinkedIn. So we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions in our Facebook or wherever. And if you'd like to see a particular series, let us know about that as well. And we'll see if we can bring that to you. With that, I would like to say, good night. Thank you, Yakuki and Chata. And we will see you next month. Take care, everybody. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. We'll see you next month.